G'day everybody, Brian from Prime Cuts Lawn Care here, Yass, New South Wales, Australia. Just getting some video today of the Old Farm Cottage, which you would have all seen before. Just give me a second and I'll come back to you. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so going out to the Old Farm Cottage to do that. Been busy the last 2 weeks, so just getting cranked up for the season. A little bit cold the other day, so it's just holding things back a bit, but when it does warm up, it will take off. So I'll have a bit more of a yarn about things at the end, but yeah, we'll just get some vision for you, and welcome to 25-26 in Australia. So just so you can see where I've come from, everybody, that's what I did to start off with, and then I've come in and done this little triangle here. I didn't show that on the video, and then we've just done this bit. So we're on the outside of the little home cottage at the farm, and what this does is it's just gives a buffer and an open space which exposes snakes. They don't like open areas, so that's why we do this. And then the next section I'll show will be inside the fence. what you can see here, everybody, it was long and it's very damp. You can see some clumpy bits everywhere. So I'm just going to go around the front and do that, and hopefully give these a bit of a chance to dry. There's a bit of sun out, there's a bit of wind, and then I'll come back and raise the deck a little bit and work them in. So I've got most of that worked in. That corner down there, it was about a foot high of clover, so it was really mushy. So I've worked that in. I'll get the blower in a little bit more on that, but it's worked in pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with that. So just a quick look at that. There's a bare bit of rubbish there, a bit of clumps there, but it's working pretty well. These little trees that have been planted that I worked around, I'll get the blower just to get all the grass clippings away from them. But it's come up pretty well, being so damp. So just finished up, everybody. There's a nice gum tree to have a look at, give you a bit of vision as I head out. Just do a U-turn here. You see the little cottage. Might come up in front, or maybe not until I actually turn again. Might be the trees in the way. But it's all come up well. We've had a bit of rain, and which is what we want, and then not this morning but yesterday morning we had another shower. Might have been 2 mils, not too much, but it was enough to make everything wet again, and certain low pieces of country around are still very wet now, which it's going to be a ripper spring, and we just need it to warm up a little bit. So you would have seen me when I was mowing. I was really rugged up because it is quite cold today. See, this pasture looks a bit low, but as we get closer there's a mob of sheep ahead, and they're just keeping it picking it down, but when it gets warm it'll take off. So just poking along this farm road to head out. I got there at 25 past 8, and it's 25 past 11 now. So I know I didn't get any whippersnipping there, it was just a bit of mowing. But it's a 3-hour job to get that done, and then it's roughly 15 minutes you know, from town out here, and 15 minutes back. Next week they're saying in the 20 to maybe 23 degrees Celsius range, and then also, which to me is another critical factor, is the nighttime temperatures will be coming up to, you know, in that 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees, which would be good. You would have seen a recent short day before yesterday we had a frost, so that's just holding things back a little bit. But the things that always take off early are the weeds, and there's plenty of those around. Plenty of cape weed, dandelions, thistles and nettles, they all take off early, and then the grass will take over. And you would have seen in the video too, the clover. Clover loves some moisture, and it just takes off, and we all know what that does. It turns to porridge under your deck. So when I get home I'll need to do a bit of I'll clean out the deck before I go to the next job this afternoon. But the countryside's looking really great, and ready to bust out. probably said before to my overseas friends, these things that we come to here, these are cattle grids, and obviously allow the vehicles to get in and out, but not the livestock. So I've been going for sort of 2 weeks. I'll go through what's been happening once we get off this farm road, which is just down and around the corner here, and I'll turn around the camera and you can have a look at my ugly mug. So we're just coming here now. It's a bit rough here. Okay, so back on the tarmac, and so yeah, the last it's cranking up this past 2 weeks. So I'm sorry I haven't got any video. It's sort of and everyone who's in the lawn mowing game will be able to relate to this. I'm just getting match fit again, if that makes sense. You know, you might have a busy day and then you're a bit sore and stuff that night and tired, and you've got to crank up again for the next day. So it just takes a little bit to get back into the swing of things. Plus I know people love the sort of clean-ups and this and that and everything else, but just getting places back to where you want them to be for your fortnightly work with the customers. So sometimes that takes a little bit longer, and I don't like once I'm into my routine, then we'll get some more videos, but I want to make sure that I get the properties done in a timely manner, and it's not costing the customer any more than it should. Because when you do the videos, they take time shifting things around and doing all that sort of stuff. But I've got a full book. I'm not taking any more residential customers. I've got enough, and I've got 2 jobs for the Ventrac. One I've already half done, and then the other one is later this week, which I will get video of, and that's the harder part of it. So that's what I wanted to show everybody. And then the other one I was going to do this weekend, but the road that I have to travel on, there's a festival on, and I just don't want to, and it's windy and narrow in spots, and I just don't want to go, let's call it, against the traffic with the big trailer and all that sort of thing, and it is quite narrow and windy, and you just don't want to end up in an incident on a bend where you basically can't turn around. So the customer's fine with that. We contacted each other, and he said not much has grown. It's out on a farm property as well, so we'll just wait for that, and we'll work something out. I'll get out there and we'll get some video of that as well. So it's all systems go, which is great, and just keeping busy doing stuff every day now. So I'll try and get some more video as I'm working on various jobs. Like other people, there are some places that you can video, and others, well, whether you prefer not to or you don't, just because of customers' privacy at the end of the day, and you have to respect that. So things are going well, and looking forward to this season. And I think I busted through the first week or two, so like the old bones are starting to feel okay. Righto everyone, first real video for the 25-26 season, and thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the comments on the shorts and all those sort of things. So I'll catch you soon.